Harri Verkamo, and I work as a project director in the city of Helsinki, basically doing traffic and street planning in the Pasila district in Helsinki, one of the fast-growing district in the city. So I'm going to present a little bit the basis of the city boulevards in Helsinki that has been planned, and also show the different boulevards where they are being built and what is the situation of the planning at this point. And after that, Pirjo is going to present a little bit one of the boulevards more specific. So the main base of the city boulevards is the new city plan for 2050, which was made a couple of years ago. Which is the new general land use plan in Helsinki. And the plan is to allow the city to grow with a very high volume of inhabitants from current 625,000 to up to 860,000 inhabitants by the year 2050. And 1/3 of the growth is planned to be from the gradual transformation of motorway-like entry routes, so called city boulevards. And 4 of these proposed boulevards have been stated illegal at this point by the court, but the city has complained about this, and so the legal process is ongoing right now, which of course affects of the planning of the boulevards. Of course the main plan of the new general plan is to create a big public transportation system which relies on light rail and heavy rail connections. So public transport is the one thing that has been very important to the city of Helsinki, and we have made lots of work to improve it. And just last year we opened the metro expansion, the first stage of it, and the second stage of the expansion is under construction and will be open maybe in 5 or 6 years. Also in the region there has been built a train loop to airport, and there's another train loop under planning that goes under the inner city. And light rail is one big part of the new city plan, and we have one line that is going to be built very soon. In a couple of years the building will start, and it's one east to west connection in the city. And also we have made lots of work with the bus trunk lines, so faster bus connections in the city. And the sustainable transport model share is now 78%, so it's quite high, I would say, in the city. This is the new light rail and heavy rail map of the new city plan, and there's almost every of the heavy rail have been already built. You see the orange one is the metro line, and the red lines are some local train traffic. But the one we are missing now is the light rail system, and this is the next stage to be built. The first light rail line is going to be this so-called Jokeri line that goes from the east part of the city to the west and to Espoo, and will continue in the Espoo side also. So it will be good changing connection also to these entry railway connections. But this is the very important if we are planning to build some city boulevards, that we improve this light rail network at the same time. And in this map is shown the ongoing project in the inner city area of Helsinki, and these areas are being built right now and will be finished like in maybe in 10 or 15 years. And after that, we don't have any big areas in the inner city to build anymore. So that's why we need the city boulevards to grow the inner city outside. These areas used to be some harbor areas, but in the early 2000s, the harbor moved to the east part of the Helsinki. So these became vacant to another for another use, and are now being built as mostly apartments and some businesses also. Pasila area, which I'm working, is right here. So here's shown the new inner city expansion areas that will be the next stage of the inner city, to build more inner city, and these are all based on the city boulevards, these areas. So to expand the heavily built inner city is the main focus. But planning the boulevards, there are some very great challenges also. Which has to be concerned, and one is how to create a healthy and safe and pleasant street place, because all the boulevards will be in a high traffic volume streets. So these are very difficult things that will create lots of challenge in the planning. And what are we going to do with the emissions? With the current emissions, they will be exceeding the annual threshold of, for example, for nitrogen dioxide. So something has to be done. You have to lower the volumes or change how the cars operate. Also, planning the apartment blocks have a great effects of how it will be in the boulevards. And there are some studies how to construct buildings so the air will flow on the streets and it will change. It will be better quality the air. And one big question is, how does it affect on the traffic volumes and what happens to the car traffic? So how will it proceed is we need to make lots of studies about the effects of the traffic. The traffic volumes and directions, I mean, we thought that if we don't have enough if the traffic can't go with the boulevards as it goes now on the highway, where will it go? Will the people move their behavior and move with another transport, or will they use another road or smaller streets? This is something that we don't want it to go that way, that the traffic flows in the smaller street network. That's a great concern. What will happen to emissions and traffic noise if we start to build lots of apartments next to the heavy traffic streets? How will the apartments be, and how the street environment will be with the great traffic and with the emissions? And how will it affect on safety, and especially with the pedestrian safety? Because now with the highways there is no pedestrians there, and if we transform them to streets, we will create some conflict points with the car traffic and pedestrians, and how will we plan those conflict points that they will be safe for the pedestrians. And also we need to do lots with the land use planning. We need to study the volumes, how we will build there, and of course make the actual detailed plans, and it will take several years to make those, and it's political decisions, and also the inhabitants in Helsinki has to be able to influence on the plans. And of course we have to start to evaluate the cost of the construction. There are lots of engineering structures in the current highways. So what will we do with the existing bridges and walls, and or do we need to build another one and tear down the old ones, and how expensive would it be? And of course these are massive constructions, so quantities of the soil is also a very significant cost of the construction. So we need to start to evaluate these costs also. So these are the proposed boulevards in the general plan. So it's all the entry roads to the inner city inside this ring road that goes around the city. So it's a very big plan, and it includes all the highways in the city. First city boulevards will be these three, because these are not stated illegal at the point. And, so it's easy to start with them. The first one is Vihdintie highway, or it's also partly street on the south side of the highway, but it's located northwest of the inner city, and this is maybe the easiest highway to transform to boulevard, because it already has one-level intersections with traffic lights, and it has a lower volumes of car traffic, about 30,000 vehicles per day. So it kind of is already a city boulevard. It only needs the buildings on the side. The second one is Tuusulanväylä highway. That is a highway that you use if you go from the inner city to the airport. And this is a highway with only multi-level intersections and traffic volumes up to 60,000 vehicles per day. So
on a weekday.
Yeah. So it's much more difficult to plan on traffic-wise, at least. And the third one is Laajensalontie street, which is an old street connecting the old oil harbor to the highway network, and it's a city-owned street, and this is the one that Pirjo will present a little bit more detail about this project. And then there are the, at this point, illegal boulevards, which is, these are all state-owned highways, and at the beginning of this year, the administrative court ruled that these are against the Uusimaa regional plan. But as I said, the city of Helsinki has appealed against this verdict, and it's an ongoing legal process. We have to wait about the Supreme Court decision about this. So it will affect the planning time of these highways. Here's a little bit summary for the boulevards. So according to the general land use plan, they have a significant building potential, and it's 1/3 of the all building potential on the plan. So they're very significant part of the city plan. And the city of Helsinki owns most of the land around the boulevards, not the exact highways, but the surrounding areas. City of Helsinki owns the land mostly. And housing capacity is up to 100,000 inhabitants according to the plans, and also 50,000 new jobs could be in the new boulevards. And most of the planned boulevards are now highways which are state-owned, excluding the Vihdintie highway on the northwest, which is from the south part is City Street, and also Itäväylä highway that goes from the east side of the city is mostly street, and Laajasalontie is a street also. And now I think it's Pirjo's turn to present the Laajasalontie street.
Thank you, Kirsi, for the background. Also from another point of view. My name is Pirjo Siren, and I work as a project director in Helsinki City Hall, executive office there. And I'm in charge of 2 of these major urban development projects in inner city Helsinki. And today I will tell you some background of the projects, and then we will have some glimpses of the urban development part of it, and then after that we will have a closer look to one of these first boulevardizations. Can you hear my voice down there? Okay, good. So I don't have to try to voice control. Let's see if we get it further. So Harri was mentioning that the inner city, it has 3 larger urban development projects since the oil harbors and other harbors moved to another location. On the picture, on the left side, there is the Helsinki city centrum. You can't see it, of course, but this is Kruunuvuorenranta. It's located 3 kilometers from the city centrum. Next to it, few kilometers away, is the centrum of Laajasalo Island. And the position of the island will change very dramatically in 2026. That is why the city has decided that we will build quite heavily and quite a lot to these new areas. Kruunuvuorenranta, which you can see in the picture, will have about 13,000 new inhabitants and 650,000 square meters of floor area in next 15 years. It's under construction now, and there is already 2,000 new inhabitants in the area. The other urban development area, Laajasalo Centrum, it's half the size, so there will be about 6,000 new inhabitants and about 300,000 square meters of floor area to that area. So in total, the island currently has about 16,000 inhabitants, and in the future it will be a city next to the city centrum of Helsinki. So it's quite a large area. When you think about the areas from the economical point of view, in Kruunuvuorenranta, the private investments, there will be about 4 billion euros, and in Laajasalo Centrum about 2 billion euros. And the city will invest to these areas about 700 million euros. So this is the background of these area projects. I was mentioning earlier that the position of the island will change completely. Here is the city centrum, city hall and market square. Kruunuvuorenranta over there on the earlier picture. and Laajasalo Centrum and the Laajasalontie street boulevardization over there. The leitmotif, which is connecting all these areas together, is a Crown Bridge speed tramway project. You might have heard some words of it before, and you probably have seen at least the picture of the Finnish largest and biggest bridge. I think some of you were in Helsinki a few years ago. So we will start the building in 2020 and 2026. It is very different to move from Laajasalo to the city centrum. Nowadays it takes about 35 minutes via bus. In the future you can get in 15 minutes to Hakaniemi and to the centrum area. The city committee made a decision 2 years ago that we have to construct and we will build this speed tramway connection. And the total value of the project is about 270 million euros. It will have 2 lines. The blue line you can see there, it will be the main line with 45-meter speed tramways. And the green line will be a shorter line from the center to Kruunuvuorenranta with new street speed trams as well, but they will be about 35 meters long. So this is kind of a background for the change to the island and also a background why we will have a boulevardization in the main road in the area. Now let's have some glimpses of the urban development part. There are 5 land use plans ongoing right now. The Laajasalontie boulevardization is in the middle over there. But also another main road, Koirosaarentie, another easy Finnish name, is over here. It connects the centrum to Kruni and to the Helsinki centrum. A lot of new floor area will be complemented over here too. Another large area on the turquoise area over there is Yliskylänlahti, which also has a lot of floor area housing coming next to the boulevardization. The 4th area is Ilomäentie Street, and the 5th is Reposalmentie Street. In total, as I was mentioning earlier, the housing will be increased by around 300,000 square meters, and it means about 6,000 or 7,000 new inhabitants in the centrum next to the boulevardization. Some glimpses of those areas you saw. This is the Koirosaarentie main road, just before the boulevardization, the southern part of it. In the yellow, you can see the new block of flats. And in the grey, you can see the old structure over there. The street will have new faces too. In the center, there will be a speed tramway line. Of course, there will be 2 car lanes in the future, but the traffic arrangements will change considerably over there. And now we come to the Laajasalontie boulevardization. As Harri was mentioning earlier, it will start from south part from Koirosaarentie and go all the way north through the Laajasalo island. And there is a street cross section over there. You can have a look. I can give you a picture and you can have a look at it too. You can see here the old road-like situation without any housing projects. Maybe Elin can put it over. There was a 60s Smith and Polvinen plan about the motorways of Helsinki, and the current situation, which you can see in the picture, is due to that old plan and one realization of it. Street cross-section in the boulevardization will be about 47 meters, and we will have 2 car lanes, just as today, to both sides, going to north and going to south to Kruni and Centrum. There will be a new light rail reservation in the center over there, 4 boulevards for trees, boulevard lines for trees, and new arrangements for bicycles and for walking. Nowadays you can see, as you can see in the situation on the picture, that's not a very good situation. And the bicycle lane in the western side will be a quality corridor type of line. We call them in Helsinki banos. Next to the boulevardization, there is an ongoing construction site already. There's a glimpse for you about the shopping center. Behind it, in the future, there will be the housing projects and the boulevardization. It's a new hybrid kind of building. It has new library, house for youngsters, and other services as well. And the last glimpse to the housing projects before the boulevardization is over there. In Ilomäentie area, there will be more traditional block of flats coming after the construction of the street area. So now we can have a bit more thorough look to the boulevardization. Harri was mentioning the problems in general, what we will have planning the boulevardizations. And in Laajasalontie, the situation is really that it's not a motorway, and state has absolutely nothing to do about it. City owns it, and city is upkeeping it. So it's a bit different situation than on the other boulevardizations. We started the work so that we updated traffic estimates in the traffic planning office where Harri works. And the basis of the work was that there was a scenario with bias on motor car traffic. Then we used ME models, and the basis of modeling was that the whole Laajasalo has been constructed, all the housing has been done. And then we made functionality analysis, street crossing per street crossing. And we made it in the situation of year 2035 in morning rush hour, so-called worst scenario. And you can see on the right side the utilization rate of the crossings. As you can see, there is a crossing, Reposalmentie, and the boulevardization next to the shopping center and all the future housing over there. That's quite heavily used. And it seems that in most challenging rush hours there will be lining, because all the cross sections, they are not interchanges anymore, they are not in multi-levels anymore, they will be traffic light interchanges, so that is why they will be having some lining, but it's not so bad, maybe 2 lights, not more. So during this kind of a modeling we learned that it seems that there will be no major problems in this boulevardization. The different thing will be in the motorways. And then there has been a lot of discussion in Helsinki about the noise and air quality studies. And we took a closer look at the air quality by modeling it, and we used 2 modeling systems. You can see it on the right side there. Open road line model and street canyon model. And what we learned is that it's a good thing in boulevardizations if the heights of the planned buildings vary. So it improves the dilution conditions in the streets. So that is a good thing. Conclusions were that the concentrations of nitrogen dioxide, they were under the yearly limit on all height levels. There was one checkpoint, that daily reference value, it was close to the reference value. When you have a look at the fine particles, it seems that the yearly average concentrations of these particles were clearly below the yearly limit. And in total, in Laajasalontie boulevardization, it seems that the land use plan is approvable from this point of view. Then, of course, there is a question of noise, as Harri was mentioning earlier. The city also made noise modelings. And I think that there was no surprises in it. I think it's basic land use planning which was shown. The residence gardens, the black ones are the new housing plots, and this is the hybrid shopping center over there. You have inner gardens here. They are protected by the noise because they are on the other side than the noise. But it seems that the noise regulations should be issued for the facades next to the boulevardization. We learned that in one study there was a question that if you have a cross-section with traffic lights and there will be lining, it might affect on the noise too. So we decided to double check these areas and we can take it into consideration later. And of course, when the city is planning an urban development project of this kind of magnitude, there is a lot of general planning going on otherwise too. We had a look at a ground planning, pre-construction needs of the plots, water resources, flooding conditions, communication, energy management, etc. And we had a look at it in the larger area. It seems that some cables need to be renewed and changed, even a bigger ground cable and district heating tank. Also a 3 million euros water pumping station must be relocated. But otherwise there were not so many surprises or shocks. We are doing right now a more thorough street planning. We are planning phasing of the construction and looking a very closer look to the investment costs. In general level, the investment cost in that short period I was showing you as an example are about 16 to 17 million euros. The city has estimated that we will get about 27 millions to the city as an income by selling the plots and renting the plots next to the boulevardization. So from the economical point of view, the first part of the boulevardization seems to be okay. So thanks. In this situation, I probably spent more than 15 minutes. If you have any questions, please go ahead.